I'm gonna tell you guys a story which happened, I'd say, 3 weeks ago. It was just a normal day of school. It was the last week of school, so I wasn't doing that much at school. I was mostly just helping some of my friends study because they had to recuperate certain tests and certain subjects where their marks weren't like sufficient. So I was pretty much just helping them study. I was helping them revise the stuff and helping them repeat the stuff, preparing for them for the oral interrogations. And the day finished, and I took the bus to go home. And I usually take two buses. One of them is like goes through the city, and it takes me to a place which is near the beach. And from that place, I take another bus, which then takes me through the whole beach until it gets to the area where my house is, which is like pretty far away from the actual city. And it usually takes me in total like 1 hour or 45 minutes. It's 15 minutes the first bus and half an hour usually the second bus, with like a 15-minute waiting time between the two buses. Because the second bus I take, seeing as it goes through an area where not many people actually live, it comes around about every like 25 minutes or so, it says, because I've had plenty of occasions where I had to wait like over half an hour for it to actually arrive, and it's quite ridiculous. But this here is the time where the bus I usually take home, did one of the stupidest things ever, but I'm grateful for it because it got me to do this challenge. It got me to do something that I would have probably never actually have done out of free will, but here I am. I just done it. So what happened was, I was at the bus stop to get the second bus, but to get the second bus, I had to wait 40 minutes or so. Let's say the signpost with like the updated times told me. But fortunately, there was another bus which came in 5 minutes, and that bus wouldn't have taken me straight home, but it would have taken me like near to my home, so I had to walk like an extra 5 minutes. And so I was fine with that because I would have gone home earlier rather than actually waiting like 40 minutes for the second bus to arrive. So I took the bus, and it was all good until I looked behind me and saw that the bus that I usually take was just behind mine. So it was literally just behind us. And so if I stopped and took the bus which was behind us, it would have saved me 5 minutes. So that is something that I decided to do. I stopped the bus, I got out of the bus to enter the second bus, but guess what happens? The second bus doesn't stop. And so I'm stranded. It's like I'm like, let's say, 7 kilometers away from my house in the middle of the beach. And I'm trying to remember what time it was. I think it was around, let's say, 3. And I hadn't eaten yet that whole day. I didn't even have breakfast. All that I had was like a coffee at school, and that was pretty much it. And I had to find my way back home. And so obviously the first thing I did was check when the next bus came, and I checked, and the next bus came at 4:30. So I had to wait 1 hour and a half to get the next bus, and I would have gotten home at about 5 o'clock without having eaten yet. So my idea was to walk home. It was like 7 kilometers. It would have taken me, I believe, like 1 hour and a half, maybe. And I would have gotten home at 4:30, which is better, but it's still not good enough. So I looked at my options. That day was a Tuesday, and Tuesday I usually have PE, so I was like dressed in a sports kind of attire. I had some tennis shoes on, I had like a football kit on. So I considered my options and knew that there was only one thing left to do. I had to run home. It was like 40 degrees outside, and I'm not kidding, it was that hot. Some areas there was a bit of wind, so it was better, but some areas it was like I was in the middle of the fucking sun and it was hot as fuck. And I hadn't eaten anything that day, just a coffee. But it was the only way for me to get home at an actual reasonable time. I had a 1 kilo backpack on me. Yeah, for some reason my phone stopped recording, but it doesn't matter, let's just get on with it. So pretty much we were saying that I had like a 1 kilo backpack on me, and the backpack wasn't even that tight, it was quite loose. So when running, it was quite annoying because it was like swinging from side to side and kind of sending me off balance. And that obviously was the worst thing about the run, but I kept on going because at the end of the day, I'm used to running like 10K. Like I can easily run 10K, and I can even run like a half marathon, which I've done twice. Where I do have like a couple of problems the very next day though with my legs, but I can do it. So 7 kilometers looks really easy, but it was slightly harder considering the bag, which was I don't know if it was like 1 kilo or 2 kilos, but it was sending me off balance and it was the hardest bit. But I ran, I overtook some actual like proper runners who were actually running that day. I don't know why anyone was running. It was like 3 o'clock and it was really hot outside. But anyway, I overtook people and they were kind of looking at me weird considering I was like still like dressed for school with my backpack. And so it was quite hard to kind of disguise myself as an actual runner. But anyway, I ran and I thought of stopping, but I didn't. I kept on going and I finished. And I checked my watch and the time was 4:45. And so I saved like 45 minutes by just running and sacrificing myself. And there were disadvantages to this experience. Like the very next day, my back didn't work because the backpack was like sending me off balance. It was like a weight throughout the entire time. And especially like in the areas which weren't so smooth, like to say the trekking paths, it was really, really hard to maneuver the backpack. And I tried to make it as tight as possible on me so it wouldn't like bounce up and down or swing side to side. But even when I did like make it really tight, it was still swinging a bit and it was still annoying me a bit. But I did it and I'm really happy for that experience. I have no regrets. I'm so glad that the bus didn't stop because it got me to do this experience. And it was at a time where I was kind of slacking on my usual physical activity, and so it made me believe that I still had so much to give in the physical space. So, I hope this video inspired you in some way. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm still trying to improve my storytelling skills, but we'll have to wait for me to actually become a brilliant storyteller. But I hope you enjoyed, and if there's any feedback you'd like to leave, I'm very happy for you to do so. And keep a strong mind and stay like a lion.